We're good to go. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
We're going to sing you a Burns song now, which means I need to pick up another instrument, and Johnny will tell you a little bit about the song we're going to sing.
This is a song that I thought was written by Burns, but it turns out it was probably written by Isabel Pagan. What a great last name. And but he put it into his collection, and he wrote and added an extra verse at the end. So we shall sing 3 of her verses and finish with his verse. And it's Caw the Yowls, drive the sheep to the hills, caw the yowls, teen the nows. And I think there's a resonance for us right now in the 3rd line of the chorus. Call them where the Bernie rows. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen lots of pictures of Bernie Sanders, but none of him actually rowing. So I think there's a challenge for Call Them Where the Burnley Rose. That's my best joke of the evening. It's now past. You'll be pleased to know. Actually, it's my only joke of the evening. Very atmospheric. And the nose, call the world the heather grows, call them where the bunny rose, my bonny dearie. Hark the maven's evening song, sounding Cluden's wood among then the falling let us go, my bonny dearie. Call the hours, take the nows, call the where the heather grows, call them where the Burnley rose, my bonny dearie. We'll go to my Clyden side, through the hazing spreading wide, o'er the waves that sweetly glide, take the moon so clearly, do the hours, take the nows, call the where the heather grows, call them where the Burnley rose, my bonny dearie. Fair and lovely as thou art, thou hast stole my very heart. I can die but cannot part, my bonny dearie. Call the hours, take the nows, call the where the heather grows, call them where the bunny rose, my bonny dearie. While waters whimper to the sea, while day blinks in the left, say he, till clay court dance shovel in my ear, ye shall be my dearie. Call the hours, take the nows, call the where the heather grows, call them where the bunny rose, my bonny dearie. Call the hours, take the nows, call the where the heather grows, call them where the bunny rose, my bonny dearie, my bonny dearie.
We're going to hand over to Hector now, who's going to sing us some Burns songs. So we're going to put this pit. We're going to replace the spotlight and spotlight Hector. So the amazing Hector Gilchrist.
That should be it. Well, hello folks. Pleased to have got a good turnout tonight, so I hope you will enjoy the evening. I'm going to do 3 Burns songs in this section, and to to say that the first song, which I've sung for many years, it's not to the original tune, this version. A lot of Burns's lyrics were set to fiddle tunes, and as you know, fiddlers can make life quite difficult. And in this case, it's to do with the range of notes. However, this was a more modern version of the lee rig. The lee rig being the low part of the field where you would have sown. We had ridge ploughing then with oxen or oxen, and the lee rig is at the low end of the field, and that's where you're going to meet the lassie as the evening sets in. When o'er the hill evening star tells bafting time is near my Joe, and Owsen frae the farrowed field returns he down and weary o. Down by the bun were scented birds, with you are hanging clear, my Joe. I would meet thee on the lee rig, my ain kind dearie o. The hunter loos the morning sun to rouse the mountain, dear my Joe. At noon the fisher tax the glen, at doon the burn to steer my Joe. Give me the euro gloaming grey, it makes my heart so cheery o. Take me to thee on the lee rig, my ain kind dearie o. The hunter loos the morning sun to rouse the mountain, dear my Joe. At noon the fisher tax the glen, at doon the burn to steer my Joe. Give me the hour o' gloaming grey, it makes my heart so cheery o. Take me to thee on the lee rig, my ain kind dearie o. Thank you. This is another favourite. I mean, Burns wrote hundreds and hundreds of songs and poems, but we end up having our favourites, and this is always a favourite in a Burns evening. It is, of course, My Love's Like a Red Rose. Again, to a tune, not to the original tune. When Liz and I recorded this some years back on a CD, we used this more modern tune, which you'll be familiar with, and I had the fiddler, Bill Eddy at the time, to play the original tune behind it, so both are there. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June, and my love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair thou art, my bonny lass, sae deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, till all the seas gang dry, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, till all the seas gang dry, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. So fare thee will, my only love, and fare thee will a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles, though it were 10,000 miles, my love, though it were 10,000 miles, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles. This next song is the end of Burns's poetry, and almost anyway, a couple of years before. He was having an affair with a lassie in the Globe Tavern in Dumfries. It's still there and you can visit it. And they have a room that's more or less as it was in Burns's day. But Anna Park was the lassie, and she was a deal younger than Burns himself. We'll talk about that later, I think. It's called The Golden Locks, or The Gowden Locks of Anna. Yestreen I have pint of wine, a place where body saw no. Yestreen lay on this breast of mine, the Gowden Locks of Anna. The hungry Jew in wilderness, rejoicing o'er his manna, was nothing to my honey bliss upon the lips of Anna. Ye monarchs talk the east and west, the Indus to Savannah. Give me within my string grasp the melting form of Anna. Then I'll despise imperial charms, an empress or sultana, and dying raptures in my arms, I'll gee and tap Anna. Why ye flaunting God o' day, why ye pale Diana? His twinkling star, go hide it away when I'm to meet my Anna. Come in thy raven plumage night, sun, moon and stars withdrawn all, and bring an angel pen to write the transports away my Anna. The Kirk state me join and tell the decent things I'm on. The Kirk state me be to hell, and I'll guarantee my Anna. She is the sunshine o' my to live but I cannot. Had I on earth but wishes three, the first should be my Anna. The street I had a pint of wine, in a place where body saw no. The streetly honest priest o' mine, melting form of Anna. You in wilderness, rejoicing o'er his manna, was nothing to my enableness upon the lips of Anna.
Thank you so much, Hector.
I don't really want to sing now.
You're going to have to. We're going to sing you another Burns song, seeing as it's our Burns celebration. It seemed appropriate.
This is a man's a man for all that, and it's a lovely egalitarian republicanish song. And I learnt it mostly from listening to Midge sing it. He sang it at the opening of Holyrood 2006, I think it was. And he has a particular delivery, so I shall do it in that same delivery. A man's a man for all that, with a plectrum that I can't reach.
Wearing a kilt and
I've got to the age if I bend down I have to make a noise.
Wearing a kilt and sitting down poses different problems. Okay. All of those buttons, we still have feet. All of those buttons are still okay. Good.
Yep, here we go. Honest poverty that hangs his head and all that. The coward slave we passing by, we dare be poor for all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but the Guinness stamp, a man's a good for all that. Thought on Hamley fair we dine, where hood and grey and all that. Give fools their skills and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, the tinsel show and all that. The honest man, though it's a poor, is king of men for all that. We see on Birkie-Carr, Lord, what struts and stares and all that. 200 worship at his word, he's but a coup for all that. For all that and all that, he's a ribbon star and all that. The man, no independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. Prince could mack a belted knight and mock his duke and all that. But an honest man, a boon his mind, good faith be man for that. For all that and all that, the dignities and all that, the pith, the sense and pride are worth a higher rank than all that. Then let us pray that come it may as it comes for all that. The sense and worth or all the earth shall bear the degree and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that. The man to man the world, oh, shall brothers be for all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that. The man to man the world, oh, shall brothers be for all that. The man to man the world, oh, shall brothers be for all that.
Hey. Hey. Oh, I like that.
Thank you. We've whizzed through the first half so that you can get your haggis ready for the second half. So we're going to finish this first bit with a couple of tunes.
We have whizzed through it really quickly.
Nah, it's great. I'm hungry.
You're hungry. You've had dinner.
You can play a few more tunes then.
I'm sure we can find some more.
We're going to do Hector the Hero into the Glasgow Reel because they felt like very appropriate tunes to play. I learnt Hector the Hero on the small pipes. It was one of the tunes that made me want to play the small pipes. And the Glasgow Reel I learnt because I thought it was an awesome tune. I learnt it by teaching it mostly. And
Sorry.
it doesn't seem to be right if I don't explain the nyckelharpa. Everyone's here, so they must have heard about the nyckelharpa, but just in case there is somebody out there in Zoom this evening that hasn't seen a nyckelharpa before, this is a nyckelharpa.
It's got nothing to do with Scotland
Nothing at all. Nyckel means key. These are the keys. I press the key pushes a tangent which is on the string. I can step up to the camera. The tangent, I push the key, the tangent, and that is what changes the vibrating length. 3 rows of keys, 12 sympathetic resonating strings tuned chromatically. That makes it, gives it reverb, makes it louder, gives it zinginess, and makes it awesome. And every Cayley band needs a nyckelharpa. So there we go.
So now you know.
Which you probably did, but just in case.
Here we go.
And the one I was playing before was a cello pitched one, and this is the normal pitched one, which is viola-ish. Okay.
You don't have to worry about anything. Phil sorts it all out.
Oh, okay. But what about that button there? Does Phil do that button?
You're just pointing at your own foot.
No, that button there.
Oh, we have to do that one.
Okay. to now take a short break where you may go and prepare your haggis if you are going to want to parade your haggis. Because the next thing that's going to happen is that we're going to pipe the haggis in. I'm going to be doing the piping, and Hector's going to be doing the, I guess, parading and also the addressing to the haggis. So I'm going to put my knuckle hopper down, and you may go and replenish your glasses, empty your bladders, fetch your haggis.
If you don't have a haggis, anything will suffice. A cream egg,
Chocolate brownie.
a slipper.
And also now would be the time to fetch some sort of tipple to be able to toast Burns when the toasts happen. There may be a few toasts.
So we will see you in 10 minutes.
Although we're not actually going to go anywhere.
I might go over there.
Yes, maybe off camera. I'll stay here.
Right.
Aha.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So here we go. We are about to pipe in the haggis.
I'm hoping to see a lot of marching around rooms.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Fair fa, your honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the puddin' race, abin them all ye tak your place, pench, triper firm. Will are you worthy of grace as long as my arm? The groaning trencher there ye fill, your herd is like a distant hill, your pin would help to mend a mill in time o' need, whiles through your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife, see rustic labour, dicht, then cut you up wi' ready slicht, trenching your gushing entrails bricht, like ony ditch. Then what a glorious sight! Warm, reeking, rich. Then horn for horn, they stretch and strive, deal tak the hindmost, on they drive, till all their wheel swalt kites be live or bent like drums. And all good man maist like to arrive, we thank it hums. Is there what Irish French ragout, or fricassee that would staw a sou, or olio that would mak 'em spew wi' perfect scunner, looks doon wi' sneering scorn for view on sic a dinner? Peer devil, see him ower his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank a good whiplash, his neve and knit through bloody flood and field to dash. Oh, how unfit! But mark the rustic, haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clap in his wheelie neve a blade, he'll mak it whistle, and legs and arms and heads he'll sned like tops of thistle. Ye powers, o mak mankind your care, and dish him out his bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jops and luggies. But if you want a grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. The toast is the haggis. Sláinte.
Smash.
You can pipe it out again.
Drinking.
Yes, I was busy drinking. Would you like me to pipe it out again?
I would.
I'll pipe it out again.
I will just have a wee rest while we're piping. There is a translation of that, of course, but I think you get the meaning. I hope.
Okay.
Right. It won't be the same if you translated it.
Aye.
Okay, piping out.
Thank you.
That was brilliant, Hector. Thank you. Wonderful.
Excuse me while I go downstairs for a minute. I'm back. We're going to have now what you would call a kind of life of Burns, or the immortal memory as it would be called properly in Burns Supper. It can be quite lengthy and I'll not try and make it too long, but you have to know a bit about Burns if you are to appreciate his music. Burns, his family came from originally Dunnottar, near Stonehaven. If you're going on the road from Stonehaven to Aberdeen, you will see a little plaque by the roadside saying, "Here were the Burness family." The name was changed when William Burns moved from Dunnottar down firstly to Edinburgh, then eventually through to an estate in Alloway, the Mount Oliphant estate, where he worked as a gardener, an estate gardener, although he had ambitions to be a farmer. He was about to marry a farmer's daughter, in fact, Agnes Brown, local girl, and he set about building the cottage. He might have been quite a good builder, a gardener, but not a great builder, because in January, close to the time that Robert was due, they didn't know he was Robert at that stage, by the way, but close to that time, in fact, the end of the house, the gable end, blew in, and it had to be fixed up. And in fact, William himself had to go through the floods. I keep reminding people that January the 25th, there's quite often floods and storms and so on, winter storms. And he went and he fetched what they called the guidwife, the lady who was expert in birthing. And the story goes that, in fact, Burns wrote a poem later on about his life, and the story goes that the end of the house blew in, and the midwife read his palm, the gossip is referred to. And she looked in the palm and she foretold his future. We'll come to that a bit later. The Burns family were in Alloway for about 7 years. Burns's father had rented a small farm off the estate, and initially was quite successful, but there was a change of ownership, and in fact the new owner put the rent up to a stage where his father couldn't pay, Burns's father couldn't pay it. So they went to another farm up near Trebolton. It was called Lochlee. In the meantime, the estate owner, the new owner, took Burns to court over the non-payment of this extended rent. And in the end, Burns's father did win his case, but it had a severe effect on his health, and he died quite young in Lochlee. At which point we have Burns about 17 or 18 years old, starting to get out and about, courting the lasses, joining the dancing class in the local town. His father was very upset about that because he was a Calvinist. But having said he was a Calvinist, he had made sure that both, point this out of course, Robert and his brother Gilbert, the boys, were educated with additional private education, improving books and reading the Bible. And at a very early stage, Burns proved to be a very good scholar, although the time he had it officially at school term was with private education, and it was quite short. Nevertheless, he absorbed anything he read, history, French, mathematics and so on. So he was really an unusual boy, and particularly unusual that a lad of that station, if you like, a farmer's son, would get that kind of education. Later on, when he was through in Edinburgh, he was quite happy to be termed the heaven-taught ploughman, but underneath, of course, he had a lot more learning than a lot of the people with whom he was talking. From there, he decided to go back to Mauchline, and he fell in love with Jean Armour. Jean Armour was the daughter of a local stonemason in Mauchline, and they were very, very much together. So much, in fact, that Jean did become pregnant with twins. But despite them exchanging notes and agreeing to marry, Jean's father objected, and so they couldn't marry. And Jean was forced also to object to a marriage with Burns. He had a bit of a reputation even then. So Burns decided at this stage, a little bit later, that really farming was not what he wanted to do. He was becoming well known as a writer of poems and so on, and short verses and epitaphs even. He met a lassie called Mary Campbell, who was working in a local estate house, and he and Mary decided to go abroad together. Burns had been offered a post through a friend of a friend who had an estate, a sugar estate in Jamaica. Now, why he even thought about it, I do not know. We know why he thought about it, because he was fed up with farming, and he was particularly fed up with not being able to marry Jean, but he was okay with Mary, and they were going to go off from Greenock and go to the West Indies. It would not have suited Burns at all. But sadly, just before they were due to sail, Mary died. Nobody knows why. It could have been a fever. It could have been anything at that time back in their port, Greenock. And fortunately for Robert, the publication of his first book of poetry, mainly in the Scottish dialect, was published in Kilmarnock. And so popular had been subscribed to, that they had to have reprints done in Edinburgh. So Burns goes through to Edinburgh, and he becomes a darling of society there. Bring this Robert Burns to your soiree or to your ball or whatever, because he's a great conversationalist. He's very clever. We don't know how he got to that level of erudition, but he was very popular and asked around here and there. But in fact, at one of the soirees, he met Agnes McElhose, or Nancy McElhose. Soon they kind of formed a cerebral love, if you like, and they exchanged letters frequently, and at one point every day. But Burns, of course, would have had other ambitions, but he never got past the drawing room, it would appear, with Agnes or Nancy, because her brother-in-law was keeping an eye on things, whilst her husband was serving as a captain in the army in the West Indies. So Burns at this point decides, well, I shall go back to Mauchline. And he does so, but he's much better off now. And he and his brother had decided to move from Lochlee to another farm, Moss Gill, near Mauchline. And there they carried on Burns gave money to Gilbert and bought a rent of a place down in Dumfriesshire, and he started to build a house so that his wife would come down with another set of twins, by the way, down to Ellisland, as the farm was called. And it was at Ellisland that Burns writes many of his best poetry, Tam O'Shanter, Cotter Satherdinacht, and so on. At the same time, the farm was becoming quite difficult to manage. Crops weren't doing too well. It needed a lot of liming and drainage. So Burns started realising that to keep a family going, he needed more income. So he applied through friends whom he'd met in Edinburgh connections to actually go and join the excise, taxman if you like. But in that day you had to ride on horseback hundreds of miles a week during all weathers, and it wasn't a great idea for his health. But he continued to write poetry, and he got into a collaboration with two producers of books, one being the Scots Musical Museum in several volumes, the second being Select Scottish Airs. And for nothing, he did it for years. He would collect songs which were sent to him, or words and poetry. And we mentioned earlier the song, one of his collected ones. And if he thought the words could be improved, he'd improve them, because he had in mind the audience who would be reading or listening to these songs. That's not to forget, of course, way back in his Mauchline days, where he was involved in a collection of extremely bawdy material, still a few sung today, the Merry Muses of Caledonia, privately published for a while, but now you can buy it, and you can hear quite a few people sing it now, the lassies. So we have Burns then as an exciseman, and then he sought promotion, and he was promoted to a larger area. He kept his social life going very well at all levels, and he was a man for all levels. Not only his working colleagues and friends in Dumfries, but people of a higher station as far as income was concerned. Particularly fond of the Ruddells, who lived close by, Friars Carse, and in fact they were kind enough to give him a kind of hermitage where he could go and sit in peace and write his poetry and his whatever songs. Then later on, of course, Burns became ill with the travel. In fact, it is thought also that he had heart trouble from quite a young age, because they were both, he and his brother, working as adults on the farm, and very heavy work for young boys. And at this stage, Burns had had a number of children. He had a child with one of his father's farm servants, Betty Peyton, way back in the Lochlee days. The child was brought into the family and raised as a Burns. In total, Burns and Jean had 9 of a family, but only 3 survived to adulthood. Strange enough, both became, two of the boys became soldiers, one a colonel and the other a lieutenant colonel, strangely. So Burns is starting to feel that he can't do the work anymore, and he has to semi-retire. His wages are cut by 50%, and in his latter year or two he's starting to feel he's not going to cope. The family will not survive. If he dies, they'll be out in the street. That was his mental state in his latter year. Before that, a couple of years or so before, he had been into the Globe Tavern, and we talked earlier about, we sang about Anna Park, and that affair cost Burns quite a lot of his reputation, because she was a lot younger. She got pregnant, the child was looked after, but it didn't go down well with the kirk or the excise, and that's mentioned in the 4th verse of that poem. So we have Burns exceedingly unwell now and taking to bed the year 1796. You will remember he was born in 1759, so he's only at that point 36 years old. with over 400 songs and poetry and letters prodigiously stacked away. He then is asked or told to go to the Brow Well, which is a mineral spring on the side of the Solway. Now let me tell you, I'm from Ayrshire, and it took me 30 odd years to learn to swim. The water was never particularly warm on the west coast. We never benefited, in Ayr anyway, from the Gulf Stream as it did further up. So it was always cold, but just imagine the Solway Firth in June, and particularly a mineral spring which ran very cold. I visited that, and it is, as I say, cold. Burns was asked or told by the doctor in his final weeks to bathe there for 10 days. He came back home after that, and within 2 weeks he died. Now at that point, I'm just going to do a short song, which Burns, believe it or not, was writing on his deathbed to his nurse, the pretty daughter of some family friends. Now there's a spirit for you. The song is called, in fact, Wert Down the Cold Blast. The original tune was a favourite of the lassie, but this particular version is a tune which Felix Mendelssohn put to the poem, O Wert Thou in the Cold Blast. I have to thank our sound man, Phil, for all his work here tonight. When I did recently a CD with Johnny and Vicki and others, Phil did all the mixing afterwards, and it wasn't my usual material. It was American jazz. Oh, wert thou in the cold blast on yonder lea, my plighted angry heart, I'd shelter thee, I'd shelter thee. And did misfortune's bitter storms around thee blow, thy bield would be my bosom to share it all, to share it all. And were I in the wildest waste, say black and bare, say black and bare, the desert were a paradise, if thou wert there, if thou wert there. And where I'm monarch of the globe, with thee to reign, with thee to reign, the brightest jewel in all my crown would be my queen, would be my queen. Oh, wert thou in the cold blast on yonder lea, on yonder lea, my plighted angry heart, I'd shelter thee, might shelter thee, and where I'm all for the glow with thee to reign, the brightest jewel in all my crown would be my queen, would be my queen. And just finally, the poem which Burns wrote about his birth is this one. There was a lad who was born in Kyle, sung to the tune Dainty Davy. There was a lad was born in Kyle, on what a day, on what a style. A dude is hardly worth a while to be so nice with Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, roving. The monarch's hen was the year but the end was 25 days begun. 'Twas then a blast o' January wind blew and slid on Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, a rantin' roving Robin. The gossip keekit in his loof, quash she wha lives will see the proof. This whaley boy will be nae coof, I think we'll call him Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving Robin. He'll hae misfortunes great and small, but I a heart of in them all. He'll be a credit to us all, we'll all be proud for Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving Robin. Good faith was she a dutchel gar, the bonny lasses lie spar. 20 thoughts you may war, so blessings on thee, Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving Robin. As 3 by 3 times 3 mark 9, I ken by ilka score and line, this lad will dearly lure kind, so leaves me on me Robin. For Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving Robin. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving Robin. Now at this point we must just toast. And the toast is to the immortal memory of Rabbie Burns. Sláinte. Now, if I've got the programme right, and it doesn't mean I have, if I have got it right, then I should be about to toast the other important toast of the evening, the lasses.
You have it right, Hector.
I have it right. Right, gentlemen, and there must be a few amongst us here this evening. It's my privilege to give this toast. I've been asked to do this before, but I've managed to avoid it because I'm usually doing a memory or something else. But I'm happy to do it. But what words could I use to honour the lasses, which could not have been more eloquently said by themselves in this day of emancipation? Ever since the time when Neanderthal man picked up a stick and said, I could hit something with that, women have been the guiding light and the guiding hand and the promoter of good ideas. The unfortunate result of that was that for the next 5,000 years man had to be a hunter and gatherer, and is still at it. Even before then, the Scots poet Alexander Scott relates a discussion between Adam and Eve and the man upstairs. Said Adam to Eve, "Ye got me grieve." Said Eve to Adam, "Apples, I've had 'em." Said Adam to Nick, "You swine, you snake, you swick." Said Nick to Adam, "Me or the madam?" Said Adam to Sel, "A woman's hell." Said Sel to Adam, "Doubled, you'd wad 'em." Said Adam to God, "What way say odd?" Said God to Adam, "You'll never fathom." The truth, however, is that even if they can't read maps, the lasses have had to overcome every hurdle and barrier set up by men in an attempt to halt their progress. Today we can see and admire the success of women who have achieved high office. We have today New Zealand's Prime Minister, America's new Vice President, and Scotland's First Minister, and many more. It is not, of course, just these high achievers who have shaped our nation, but around us and always giving support to their man is in effect a matriarchal society, hard-working women. However, still today it is regretted in our so-called more civilised world that there continues to be reports of the horrors of abuse and neglect perpetrated on women on a daily basis, both nationally and internationally. It is, I believe, a result of lack of education, the values of basic decency and respect in a child's formative years, and maybe also aided by the inability of social media to control the content of and access to undesirable material. Burns, of course, loved the company of women and celebrated their beauty and accomplishments in all his love poems and lyrics. It was the fashion of the day too. He did not refer often to their intellectual abilities. Certainly a number of his friends were well educated and from the moneyed class, and others blessed with strong character and common sense. Very little material remains which gives us a feedback on their opinions regarding Robert and his various relationships. He must, however, have shown appreciation, we all do, of the benefits in preserving an ordered family life and his personal well-being. In addition to his romantic musings, he even wrote an address for a visiting artist to the theatre in Dumfries, a Miss Fontenelle who delivered from the stage The Rights of Woman, written by Rabbie. It would be normal to quote in a toast like this, of course, Burns's words from his poems and songs. But to begin with, I'd like to quote a verse from a song of Alan Reid. Alan Reid's, he was in the Battlefield Band for this. Alan wrote this about a man and his partner. O love of mine, when first that we began, I thought that I was strong enough for anything. A look, a touch from you, and I'd return and follow like a little clockwork toy. The grass grew tall and strong before I saw it grow. The kettle whistled long before I even heard it blow. And all the time I thought that I was in control, but now I know that I was just a boy. And from Rabbie and his poem and song, Green Grow the Rushes, or Rushes, to you, was not anything more serious than that. We have to say, from that poem, it's probably the best summation of his feelings for women. There's naught but care on every hand, in every hour that passes o', but signifies the life of man, if it werena for the lasses. Gie me a canny hour at een, my arms about my dearie o', then worldly cares and worldly men me all gang tapsel teario. Old nature swears, the lovely dears, her noblest work she classes o'. Her prentice hand she tried on man, and then she made the lasses o'. There are many lasses here this evening in the gathering. I know quite a few, but unlike Rabbie, I didn't know them all. A few I'd like to mention particularly because they're here. There should be anyway. Firstly, on the door, in the role of benevolent bouncer, that feisty Aberdeen quine, recognised as one of Scotland's finest fiddlers, and always with a smile to match her talent. From Maine, across the Atlantic, from where we hope we'll get more gentle waves in the future, we have Sarah Gray, a national treasure and a benefit to all people who listen and watch her on stage. She is really a tradition bearer in herself. From the north, from her igloo, somewhere near the Cairngorms, we'll have my former Selkie partner, Liz Thompson. I keep trying to persuade her to sing now and again, and she does occasionally. These ladies, I think actually Liz is not on a picture tonight. I think she's listening in. I think that's a new thing which the First Minister of Scotland has brought in. No visual pictures must be allowed of any people across the border while this COVID thing is going on. And with three strong ladies who've had their misfortunes great and small, but they have a heart I've been them all, to paraphrase Rabbie. And somewhere around, probably, my friend Sue Graves, that's a wonderful singer from Surrey. And finally, that perfect blend of Swedish schnapps and Scotch whisky. Mrs. Victoria Dyer, or as we know her, Vicki Swan. And from Vicki I'll be shortly asking for a reply to the toast. But at this point, gentlemen, you should be upstanding with a full glass. However, I'll not ask you to stand up because you'd probably tip up the tea tray or maybe waken the dog. But there we go. I have a glass full. I'm standing. So let us say that we toast these wonderful people, our partners, our friends, our acquaintances, our lovers, whatever. Let us toast the lassies.
Lasses.
Hey, hey, the lasses.
Hey, the lasses.
Hey, the lasses.
And now I crave a reply from Vicki.
So, I would indeed like to respond on behalf of the lassies. I'll just wait for the spotlight. Maybe I'm muted. Nope. Here we go. So, my reply on behalf of the lassies. I thank you, Hector, for your kind words. I'm surprised it wasn't a bit more slurred. I saw you knocking back that whisky. I was worried it may get a wee bit risky. I've been asked to respond on behalf of the lassies. I'll try my best to keep it classy. We gather here this braw fine night. I'm hoping this Disney end wi' a fight. Here goes my response from the fairer sex, an age-old dispute, who's mair complex. Behind every man you'll find a woman telling him what to do. If he doesna listen, she'll gie him the eye till his thinking comes round to her way. We let them think it was their idea, smile and nod and hand them a beer. But I ask you this, where would we be without our knights in shining armour? Skinny, rich and wrinkle-free, beaten off all the charmers. They say the best way to a man's heart is always through his belly. I say it's letting him decide what to watch on the telly. They moan at us for our shopping sprees and spending money on shoes. We change the topic, ignore the optic and just keep topping up their booze. Joking aside, we love them all, our friends, partners and lovers. And most of all, we thank them all for not comparing us to their mothers. I jest and I mock her. I'm being a bit of a scoffer. But if truth be told, I truly must say we wouldna have them any other way. So whether we're from down here or from up among the heather, we're all just Jock Tamson's bairns living across a border. I'd like to end this ode in the words of Rabbie Burns. He's the reason we're all gathered here the night, and the lads have got cold bums. The finest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. The lad, we celebrate the night. I ask we lift our glasses to Rabbie Burns. Cheers, Rabbie. And to the laddies. The laddies. And thus ends my response for the lassies.
Bra!
I believe.
That, more or less.
I think, do we have another song from Hector? Or is that on the list? Do we have another song from Hector?
Oh, yes.
Yes, we have
One
another
more
song from Hector. So
He's ready and everything, look at him.
Yes.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Yeah, what song could you choose to give the girls? But probably Rabbie's song that he wrote for Nancy McElhose, whom he called Clarinda. She called him Sylvander when they wrote. High-flown stuff. Anyway, he wrote this. She was perhaps going to be moving out to the West Indies, to join her husband. But Rabbie, of course, was going back to Mauchline and Jean. And the song, which is well known, Ye Are One Fond Kiss. Ye fond kiss, and then we sever. Ye farewell last forever. Deep in her drowned tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. Who can say but fortune grieves him when the star of hope she leaves him? Meany cheerful twinkle lights me, dark despair unites me. Had we never loved so kindly, had we never loved so blindly, never met, never parted, we would ne'er been broken hearted. Fare thee well, my first and fairest. Fare thee well, my best, my dearest. Thine be ilka joy and treasure, peace, enjoyment, mirth, and pleasure. A fond kiss, and then we sever. Yea, farewell last forever. Deep in her drowned tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. Who can say but fortune grieves him when the star of hope she leaves him? Meany cheerful twinkle lights me, dark despair around benights me. Had we never loved so kindly, had we never loved so blindly, never met, never parted, we would ne'er been broken hearted.
Oh, lovely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hector Gilchrist. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have come to virtually the end of the bit where you don't do anything. And then we'll have a couple of dances because you have to finish a Burns evening with a couple of dances. But before that, one song it's almost impossible not to sing. Without guitars easier. Yeah, sit still. Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days all lang syne? For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. We twired round about the braes and put the gowans fine, but we've wandered many a weary foot sin auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. We twa paddled in the burn from morning sun till dawn, but seas between us braid here roared sin auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty fair, and gie's a hand of thine, and we'll take a right good whaley wacht for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. And surely you'll be your pint stoop, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne.
Oh, so lovely.
We believe that there is a birthday girl somewhere in the audience, so we would like to do a quick shout out and a happy birthday to Susan, whose birthday it is, and I should have written it down, is not today, or it might be today,
Roundabout now.
roundabout now. So I'd like to just sing happy birthday to Susan.
Do we have anybody else with a birthday roundabout now?
Yeah.
Do we have a name? Wish I hadn't asked this now.
Susan's birthday's on Thursday.
Thursday.
Here we go.
So for Thursday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan, Susan, Susan. Happy birthday to you.
Hurrah! we're now going to ask our amazing caller, Bob, to come to the stage because we're going to finish off this evening with a couple of dances. And Bob is going to call those dances suitably adjusted for dancing
in ones and twos.
In ones and twos at home. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Bob Morgan.
I think Carol's looking for him because he disappeared.
Are you hiding, Bob?
Hello. Does that bring me up a bit? There we go. So, not yet. Yes, these are adjusted for lockdown. So I'm mostly going to call them as if you're dancing on your own. I will make reference to the originals. We're going to start with the, we started with the Canadian barn dance. I've a ridiculous echo of my own.
Oh yeah, well, mute.
Oh, that means we can't hear. I tell you what, we'll do this.
There we go. So, sorry, hearing your voice half a second behind does break things in your brain somewhat. So yes, I'm going to call these as if they are, as if you are on your own. I'll reference the originals. They all both started as couple dances. We're going to start with, it started as the Canadian or Highland barn dance. So you are going to start facing, we will call up the camera. So you're going to face your camera, unless of course your room runs the other way and you need a bit of extra length or width. You're going to go forwards 3 steps. On the 3rd step, you hop. You go back 3 steps and hop. Now, if you're with your partner, you can go away from your partner. For this, if you're on your own, I suggest going to the right. We're going to slide 2 chassé steps to the right. So that's 2 slidey steps to the right. 1 and 2 and clap. And then back the other way. 3 and 4 and clap. Now, if you are with a partner, you're going to want to take a ballroom hold and do forwards here. But if you're on your own, just go to the right again. You're going to go to the right or forwards, go 1 and 2 and back 3 and 4. And then if you are with a partner, you can polka around for 4 steps. If you're on your own, I suggest you do a little set and turn single, which is a little jumpy step to the left, right, a jumpy step to the left, and turn round on the spot. If you wish to do Highland arms and foot pointing, we probably can't see anyway. Let's put that all together again. So you go forwards. You're stood next to your partner if you have one. You go forwards. 1, 2, 3, hop. Back, 2, 3, hop. Chassé sideways. 1 and 2, clap, back and clap. And then either with your partner or on your own, sliding again. 1 and 2, back and 3, set or polka.
We have Boris Madeline.
Lovely.
Excellent.
So, let's do this with a bit of music then. This is the lockdown barn dance. Starts going forwards.
Oh, hold on. I've now muted our speaker so we can't hear you, Bob. If you get an echo, wave at us, but because we're sending out, but we're not sending in, so we'll be watching your finger numbers and everything. So here we go. Am I ready? Yes, I'm ready.
Forward. Back. Chassé. Forward. And polka. Here we go. Forward. Off you go. And back. Chassé out. And back. And back. Second turn or polka. Forward. And back. Chassé. Forward. Back. Polka around. Forward you go. Chasse. Poke around. Forwards. Chasse. Sliding. Forward. Poke around. Forward. Poke around. Forward. Forward. Very nicely danced. That was the lockdown Canadian Highland Swan dance, which, aside from me discovering I've forgotten how to do hornpipe rhythm, which was exciting. Lovely. And we cannot do a Burns night without the Eightsome. No, but we're not doing the Eightsome reel. That would, yeah, no. We'll do the Gay Gordons, or, well, the locked down Gordons anyway. I shall give you a brief moment, should anyone be wishing to refresh themselves, sort themselves out. Lovely. So, for the Gay Gordons, if you are with a partner, you are going to wish to be stood in the Gay Gordons hold. Right hand to right hand, left hand to left hand, in a lovely, graceful hold, ready to wrestle with your partner as they disagree over which way you're turning. If you're fighting your partner to turn, it's the wrong way. Facing the camera, stood a fair distance away from the camera if you can, because you're going to need a run-up. You're going to go forwards. 1, 2, 3. On the fourth step, you both pivot to face the other direction, and you take 4 steps backwards. You go forwards. 1, 2, 3. You pivot on the spot, and you take 4 steps backwards. For the full Gay Gordon's Burns Night experience, you may wish to scatter a couple of chairs in that path to get the full effect of running into someone who's not paying attention. Now, if you are with a partner, you're going to take your right hands and you're going to turn your lady under the right hand. Whether you're progressing forwards at that stage is up to you and your living arrangements. And then you will polka with your partner. If you're on your own, I suggest you set to the right and to the left and twirl on the spot to the right, and then set to the left and set to the right and twirl to the left. Gives you a bit of footwork and a bit of twirling, whether you are playing whichever role. Let's do it all again. You start away from your camera. You come forwards. 1, 2, 3. Turn back. 2, 3. Forwards. 1, 2, 3. Turn back. 2, 3. Twirl the lady under for a bit. And polka. Excellent teddy bear work there. Wonderful. Lovely. So this is our last dance. I regret, much as I tried, I was unable to fit in a Strip the Willow dance for, well, let's face it, for obvious reasons. So our last dance is the Lockdown Gordons after our introduction.
Okay, I need tips for a second as well.
Don't forget your instructions.
Yes, don't forget your instructions. I'll do this as quickly as I can. We've now muted the Zoom, so we can't hear anything that's not
We can say
muted.
whatever we
You
like
know
about
what I mean.
them.
Okay, good to go.
Here we go then. Start going forward. Go forward. Turn it back. Forward. Turn back. Over lady. Hulk around. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. 12. Hulk around. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. 12. Polka. Forward. Forward. 12. Polka around. Forward. Forward. 12. Polka. Forward. 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 One more time. Forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you for calling. Thank you for dancing. And that brings us to the end of our Burns celebration. So we would like to thank you all so much for coming out tonight. It's been brilliant. We've had a lot of fun.
And whilst one last list, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Phil for sound. Thank you to Carol for stewarding. Thank you for Bob for calling. And of course, the amazing Hector for his wonderful, wonderful bits.
Thank you to you.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Fantastic.
Hey.
Normally we would, of course, at this point close the curtains and run away, but we're not going to. We'll keep it running for a bit longer. So feel free to just stay and chat for a bit. It's such a good excuse to see people and natter.
Or or if you want another song.
Oh.
Whose side are you on? I've got my glass of coffee. Well, that went well.
I think. Well, I vote for. I vote for us doing my favourite song of the time, which we've done pretty much every gig in lockdown in Zoom. Jiggle the Old Bones.
Nothing to do with Burns at all. However, it is a dance tune. So if you got the bug for dancing from what Bob's just been calling, now's the time to make up your own dance. This is a contra dance, goes quite quickly, and if you don't fancy dancing, there's a chorus. And the chorus goes, so let's dance, feel the groove and dance, let your body move and dance, push your cares away, safe away for another day and dance. Jiggle the old bones. I'm amazed that I remembered that.
And yes, as Hector said earlier, we've all got CDs for sale. Hector's new CD that he recorded with Jonny.
It's amazing, despite us getting on it.
In the summer is available on our websites, and we are also doing quite a lot of playing for dancing. So if you're into sort of play for dancing, we're doing 2 dances a month in America. Anyway, check out our gig list for stuff. We don't have another Zoom gig planned exactly because we want to sleep for a bit, I think. So here we go. Thank you very much for coming. Here is Jiggle the Old Bones. I need to check all of my buttons again. I'm going to press that button there, and that vocal, that one, original sound. So many buttons. Okay, I'm good to go.
Billy come home with dirt in his hair, a stain on his shirt from he don't know where, but a smile on his face like he just don't care. But now's the time for dancing. Breaks his back, working down the mine, selling a soul for $1 on a dime, but a cup of tea and he'll be fine. Now's the time to dance, so let's dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Put your cares away, save away for another day and dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Jiggle the old bones. Jeannie comes home from a day in town, to her job to just hold down, but now you've seen her hint of a frown, but now's the time for dancing. Kids are growing up and doing okay, Jeannie worries anyway, saves the money for a rainy day, but for now they're gonna dance, so let's dance. Feel the groove and dance, let your body move and dance, put your cares away, save away for another day and dance. Feel the groove and dance, let your body move and dance. Jiggle the old bones. Sue's got a brand new man, a blue-eyed boy with a Midwest tan. She said she's gonna marry him when she can, but he's gonna learn to dance for tonight. Gonna be the first date, mom and dad will seal their fates. They better scrub up and not be late. Now they're gonna dance, so let's dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Put your cares away, save away for another day and dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Jiggle the old bones. Kids are grown and left the home. Billy and Jean feel all alone. This great house, one cozy and warm, just feels empty. Christmas time is coming soon. Now they need to clear the room for everyone who's coming home. Now's the time to dance, so let's dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Put your cares away, save away for another day and dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. So let's dance. Feel the groove and dance. Let your body move and dance. Put your cares away, save away for another day
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So we don't have to drive home now.
No.